Hello and welcome back to When Learning Feels Hard. I'm Katie Nelson, dyslexia and dyscalculia specialist and founder of the Dyslexia and Dyscalculia Academy. I work with families every week through assessments and support, and I'm also speaking from my own experiences as a parent. In this podcast, we explore the questions many parents find themselves asking when learning starts to feel difficult for their child. Together, we'll look at what might be happening beneath the surface when reading, writing, or maths feels harder than expected, and how parents can begin to support their child with greater clarity and confidence. So, wherever you're listening from today, I'm really glad that you're here. Today's episode is for every parent who's looked at the calendar recently and thought, I can't quite believe it's nearly September. Can anybody relate with this? There's something about August that's different, isn't there? The holidays are still here. Maybe you've been making memories together. Perhaps you've been away somewhere, or maybe you've simply just been enjoying those slower mornings and later bedtimes. But gradually, September starts creeping into your thoughts. You see school uniform in the supermarket. Friends start talking about teachers. The new pencil cases appear in the shops, and before you know it, you're thinking, I really hope this year is different. I think that's something many parents quietly carry, especially if last year was difficult. Perhaps your child struggled with reading, perhaps homework became a daily battle. Oh, I can certainly relate. And perhaps they came home every day feeling absolutely, completely exhausted. Or maybe their confidence slowly disappeared over the course of the school year. If that's been your experience, it's completely understandable that September doesn't just bring excitement. It can also bring quite a lot of worry, can't it? I often speak to parents during August who tell me they almost feel nervous about this new school year. Not because they don't love school, not because they don't value education, but because they don't want their child to experience another year of feeling like they're falling behind. And I think, to be truthful, it's a really natural feeling, isn't it? Because when we watch our children struggle, we naturally want to protect them. We want things to be easier. We want them to enjoy learning. We want them to come home smiling. One thing I've learned through years of working with families is September isn't just a fresh start for children. It's a fresh start for us as parents too. But sometimes we put all of our energy into preparing the practical things. We buy the new shoes, the school bag, the lunchbox, the stationery, the name labels, and all those things are important. I'm not saying they're not, but very few of us spend time preparing emotionally. Because if your child found learning difficult last year, they're not walking into September with a blank slate. They're walking into September carrying memories of finding reading difficult, memories of getting stuck, and memories of comparing themselves to other children. Those memories of feeling different. And sometimes those memories quietly become beliefs. I can't do maths. I'm the slow reader. I'm just not clever. I'm always the last one to finish. Those aren't facts. The stories our children have begun to tell themselves because of those repeated experiences. And if there's one thing I hope parents take away from today's episode, it's this. One of the most powerful things we can help our children change isn't their ability. It's simply the story they believe about themselves. Because when a child believes that they're not good at learning, they approach every new challenge expecting that same struggle. But when they begin to understand, oh, okay, my brain might just learn in a different way, and things start to shift. They become more willing to have a go. They become less frightened of making mistakes. They become more open to support. Now, that doesn't happen overnight. I'm not trying to say that, but it does begin with understanding. I often think about the conversations I have with children during assessments. Sometimes they'll arrive feeling incredibly nervous. They're expecting another situation where somebody points out everything they find difficult. But one of my favourite moments is when they begin to realise that, oh, there's a reason this feels harder for me. You can almost see the relief, because suddenly it isn't about feeling lazy or not trying or not being clever enough. It's about understanding how their brain works. And I think parents deserve that same feeling too. Because many parents, I can relate to this so much. We carry so much guilt. Why do we do that as parents? But we do, don't we? And they wonder if they should have spotted something sooner, whether they should have done more, whether they've somehow let their child down. If that's you, I do want to gently reassure you today. You're here, you're listening, you're learning, and that tells me everything I need to know. Parents who care enough to understand are already making a difference. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to have the perfect strategy. Sometimes your child simply needs to know that somebody understands their experience. As we head into September, I'd really love to just encourage you to think about one simple question. This month, instead of asking, how can I make my child work harder this year? Perhaps ask, how can I help my child feel more successful this year? Those are two very different questions. Success might look like asking for help instead of sitting in silence. It might look like reading for 5 minutes without feeling anxious. It might look like walking into school feeling just a little bit more confident. Sometimes the biggest progress isn't immediately visible in a school book or in school reports. Sometimes it's found in confidence, resilience, self-belief. And those things matter enormously. Another thing I'd just encourage you to think about before school starts is that of communication. If your child has had a difficult year, think about what information might help their new teacher understand them. Not just what they struggle with, but what they're brilliant at, what motivates them, what helps when they're feeling overwhelmed, what encourages them to keep going. Because children are so much more than the difficulties they experience. Perhaps your child is wonderfully creative. Perhaps they build incredible things. Perhaps they're kind and funny. Are they curious? Are they thoughtful? Maybe they ask brilliant questions. Those strengths deserve to arrive at school too. Sometimes we spend so much time explaining the challenges that we forget to introduce the child. And finally, I'd like to leave you with this thought. September doesn't have to be about becoming a different family. It doesn't have to be about making huge promises that everything will change. Sometimes it's simply about approaching the new school year with a little more understanding than we had before. Because understanding changes how we respond. It changes the conversations we have. It changes the expectations we set, and perhaps most importantly, it changes how our children begin to see themselves. So, if you're feeling hopeful about September, hold on to that hope. If you're feeling worried, that's okay too. And if you're feeling a little bit of both, I think that's just probably where us parents are right now. And just remember, you don't have to have all the answers before the first day of school. You simply need to keep learning alongside your child, because every conversation, every small success, every moment of understanding helps to build something so much bigger. A child who believes learning can feel hard sometimes, but I know I'm capable. That is a wonderful place to begin a new school year. If this episode resonated with you and you're navigating dyslexia or dyscalculia with your child, please know that you're not alone. You can find more conversations and support inside our parent community, where many families are sharing similar stories. If you'd like to keep exploring these topics, make sure you follow the podcast so you don't miss future episodes of When Learning Feels Hard. You can also find more information about the work we do at the Dyslexia and Dyscalculia Academy at www.dyslexia-academy.com. And remember, difficulty is information. When learning feels hard, it's often the first step towards understanding what your child truly needs. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.